So I wanted to make a video about this cooler. I've been purchasing for the last 6 months a couple of those when I needed to cool like 12600 CPUs, which is the one that I'm having here, or even 12700 or even 12900F lately. So the core of the question is this cooler seems to have a very good conductivity in a way that while with the Noctua I can easily display maybe like 300 watts more easily because the cooler is bigger and the fan has more area. The cooler is much bigger, but the floor temperature, and it seems like something like the ability of the cooler to transfer the heat from the CPU to the heat spreader is slightly lower than this one. So this one has like smaller fins, smaller surface. It's lighter, but when the CPU is not under load, it goes like down to 30 degrees, which is something that the Noctua can do somehow. So it's something about the base, about the thermal interface at the bottom connected to the CPU. When I did it from previous testing with the 12600, I tried the various the devices to improve the LGA socket, like this one. Okay, because I was struggling. I was getting 70 degrees even with the D15, which is the best Noctua cooler. Well, something that I noticed is that with the NHP1, I was getting slightly better results. So also this one seems to have like something better in the base that makes it easier for the heat transfer, and therefore you get like a lower floor for the temperature. And if you have like a huge fan, you can get like maybe 60 degrees. I'm now running the CPU without any fan, and you can see that my maximum temperature is 84 degrees, which is insanely low for R23, because the 12600 doesn't generate much heat, but the problem is that it's very concentrated. So the issue is with the thermal conductivity between the die and the heat spreader and the cooling pipes. And this cooler gets insanely hot even at low temperature. I don't know how can I translate this in English, but it's just something different, the way it's built, that makes it so much better in that regard. So it's also easily a very good cooler if you want low noise, because you don't need much pressure from the fan. As you can see, it's running without fan, and you can keep the temperature very low, so it runs very efficient, because the lower the temperature, the lower the power consumption. And this also helps a lot with memory stability, and I'll explain why. So I'm currently running with Gear 1 at 3600. Okay, Gear Mode 1, and the RAM is running 3600, which is insane for the locked SKUs, because I don't have any system agent voltage to mess with. And the reason I can do this is because when I put the fan on, the CPU never goes above 60 degrees, and then allow me to run the system agent and the memory controller at 1800 megahertz, which is Gear 1 mode. Oh, sorry, 2600 megahertz, which is Gear 1 mode. And this is very important for those CPUs, for the i5 locked CPUs, because the higher the temperature, the lower the memory controller stability. You don't actually need this cooler for this kind of CPU. You can run them with much like even with the stock cooler. You can run an i5 12600 if you don't care about the noise, but you will not get, like, you will probably get in the 95 degrees range at some point, and that will kill your memory stability. While if you are able to keep that under 60, because as soon as you plug the fan, this one is, I have the fan unplugged now, I can run the memory stress test all day, no problem, at Gear 1, which is something that I was never able to do with the stock cooler, even though the CPU performance is almost untouched. Yeah, that's why this cooler is so incredibly good for low-end CPUs. If you put a 300 watt CPU under this versus this one, the Noctua is going to win. But if you put like a 100 watt, very dense CPU, the Assassin is going to win, because it's so much better at transferring heat from the surface of the CPU to the fins. I hope that explains it, and bye-bye.